But people are dying from poverty.
But that death has migrated from Asaba to Zamfara, Borno, migration of death.
Yes, so it's all part of this complex thing. Look, the Zamfara issue reflects our fire brigade approach to issues in this country.
Okay, let's leave Dr. Edoziem for now. He talked about optimizing our potentials. Dr. Kemi Jorge, before you can optimize potentials, don't you need to discover the potentials first?
Definitely. There is identification. You need to identify the skills that you have, the gifts that you have been given. Everybody, nobody was created empty. Everybody was created full. And that is why we're supposed to be useful, not useless. Now, in developing, identifying your potentials, there is the place of use. Everything created was created for use. Everything created was created to be used. It is in its use that its celebration comes out.
So a land infested with poverty, I can make that conclusion that that land is full of useless people.
It sounds funny the way you put it, but then if we're speaking semantically, it's loaded full, it's full, but because it is used less, so it can be called useless.
Is that not why we are here? That's why we are here. And we must make sure we are not useless. Mr. Wale Okuniyi, how can the people be useful to themselves in this case?
Thank you very much. I have made allusions in the morning or during the earlier session on how we can become more resourceful to our existence here in Nigeria. And I have said that the first critical thing of being useful or being resourceful to ourselves is to seek knowledge. We need to seek, we need to consciously seek to know ourselves better, understand ourselves better, in terms of research, in terms of national consultations. We must, because Nigeria is a huge diversity in terms of its peoples. You have the Yoruba, which has existed by itself, a government of its own. You have the Hausa, you have the Igbos, you have that diversity is there, which in itself is a basis for conflict. So it's not like any other society, a monocultural society.
But in monocultural societies, they still fight. Somalia.
It is not going to be as intense where you have diversities.
The Congo.
Yes, it is not going to be like that of Nigeria today is dropping in darkness. It has not even moved. It has, since independence, slided back because of deliberate sabotage, because of lack of building national consensus. We have not been able to do that. Since I did a research of Nigerian constitutional exploration from 1886 to 2014, and I found that we have been unable up to today to evolve a national consensus.
And because we've not been able to get that national consensus, let me remind us of a recent statement. Somebody said, what is happening to us is not a hidden agenda, because the headsman, through Miyetti Alakauta Hall, had said at several fora that they want to take over the Benue Valley. The attacks are also the continuation of the jihad which was truncated by the Benue people in 1804. This is coming from Governor Samuel Otom. Is this not primordial sentiment, Dr. Edoziem?
Well, we have to be very cautious here because I am aware that there's also an allegation that a special advisor to Governor Otom was involved in the killing of Catholic priests in that state as a consequence of the priest preaching against some of the things that the government was doing, all put down to headsmen attacks. So it's very difficult to comment on some of these things without full access to what's going on. A lot of what we read in the papers do not tell us the story behind the maneuverings, the politics involved, the evil maneuvers of people who do not wish us well.
Why am I going this line? I want to establish first the character of the Nigerian state before you can even talk about excelling. From what we have discussed so far, the character of the Nigerian state is one that is full of ethnic wars, nepotic, corrupt, useless. With such a character of a state, how do we then start talking about excelling? Excelling. Because we're talking about excelling. You've talked about different national development plans. You listed them. Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, you listed them. MAMSA, we've listed them. And who knows, the next president comes up with another agenda. Yet we are not excelling.
That is the point I have been making here. There is no way you can go forward with beautiful economic theories, policies upon policies. It will always go down because there will be deliberate sabotage. There will be alibi.
Are you calling for the redefinition of the state?
Oh, definitely. I have said that there has to be national consultation, national cohesion, political cohesion. That's the first thing. You must consult across the college and shake across Nigeria or whatever. There must be a genuine constitutional making process to build a nation.
Are you saying this conversation we are having here, we amount to nothing?
No, not necessarily so. Not necessarily, because it is part of rebuilding Nigeria or reworking Nigeria. So the conversation we are having here can be refocused to go into the foundation. Because if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do?
Yes. When we're talking about excellence, we are now saying that we do not see excellence in our community, in our society, in our nation. So what do we see? We see mediocrity. That's what we see. We don't see excellence. And why do we see mediocrity? It's commonly said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. What is abuse? Abnormal use. You remember that we just said a few minutes ago that everything created is created full of use. But when it is used less, it is useless. But when it is fully utilized, it is useful. But when you don't even know what you're supposed to be used for, then you abuse yourself. For example, this instrument that I'm holding, you would agree with me that it looks like something that we usually use in the kitchen to turn our gari. So if, for example, I don't know what it is used for, that is used to amplify sound, I could actually take it to the kitchen and use it like that. Now, what am I doing? I'm abusing it. This is what we do. We not only abuse ourselves as individuals, but we have now progressed to abusing ourselves as a nation. How do we now identify? When he was speaking, he said we need to identify who we are. How do I identify the use of any tool, of any entity, rather than talking to the manufacturer of the tool or the entity? How do you know what you are used for? How do you know your purpose when you don't know God? So we need to go back to the manufacturer's manual and ask ourselves, what am I useful for? What is my use? Why am I here? We are all gathered here. Do you know that we are more than enough to make a change? Somebody says government has power. Who gave the power to government? Is it not you? We can take the power if we want. I remember about 2 years ago, a few individuals sat down together toward the end of the year in 2017, and they started an organization which was supposed to be a third force, supposed to counter whatever it is that was going on in the community. We had good, beautiful motives, but what did we do? Did we moving on it? We were thinking that by now in 2019, we would have seen a tremendous change. But what did we do? We were not able to come together as one and move forward and push. I am advocating that once you're able to identify who you are, once you're able to identify the reason why you are here, then get up, come together, and move forcibly.
That's delightful, right? You're enjoying yourself, right? She's spitting fire, right? I'm happy you are happy. Thank you, thank you. Now, when you hear passionate speeches, you should act on them. But by the time you walk out here and you go back into your hideout and your comfort, you disappoint me. Dr. Edoziem talks about taking back Nigeria. He didn't want to talk about Showore and Co. But they came with Take Back Nigeria. And I listened to him. He said there was no vision. The vision wasn't clear. Should we give up?
No, we shouldn't give up. Before I answer that question, let me say this before I forget. When you were talking about using this to go and stir pounded yam, I thought, well, that's a good idea for the next Airtel commercial. So, going to whether we should give up or not, I would say no. We shouldn't give up. But we must focus on the kind of people who are in this room. Okay? If we are focusing on some of the other people who are involved, for example, in the third force, look at the people who are in the third force in one way or the other. Obieze Kwesili, Kingsley Moyalo, Donald Duke, Pat at one time flirting with them. you know? So, but what happened? Everyone wanted to be president. Step down for this person now. No, you step down for me. So, we just have to give up on those people and concentrate on you guys. And I had occasion to give a talk at UI last year. And they were talking about them being leaders of tomorrow. That was their strapline. And I said, no, don't think about being leaders of tomorrow. Think of being leaders of today. Start now. I give you one last anecdote. At school, they said, oh, we need 20 Naira contribution for a development fund for some particular project. Then the mother is told, this is what you need. The mother says to the child, please go and tell your father that we need 50 Naira for this contribution. Bear in mind the teacher said 20. Then the child goes to the father and says, "Father, mommy says that the teacher says we need 70 naira." You know? So everybody along the line is trying to look after their own interests. That is what we need to change, and that change starts with you.
Now, I'll come to you. You know, I've been wondering what the problem really is. Because I have been talking over the years. I've been screaming, I've been shouting, I've been frustrated, I am back again. And it seems I'll keep talking. Let's look at this. Why did Shure and Co., why did they not succeed? Is it that they don't want to succeed? Don't forget, I'm a political scientist, so I ask political questions. Let's look at this theory. The theory states that the ideas of the ruling class are in every epoch the ruling ideas. The point is that the class that owns the means of material production in any society also controls the means of mental production. I'm talking about the Gramsci theory of hegemony. It states clearly that the ruling class, deploying tools of dominance, manipulates society in their own interest, therefore becoming the definers of the character of the state. The point is this: it's not whether you want to be president or not. Who controls the economy? The Tinubus, they do. How do you displace them from controlling the economy? Perhaps you will help us.
Thank you very much. And coincidentally, I happen to be the person who convened the first Thought Force meeting in Nigeria under the auspices of what we call the National Political Summit Group, which later metamorphosized into the Nigeria Intervention Movement, of which I am the Director General till date.
Should we clap for him? Don't clap yet. The Thought Force hasn't achieved anything. Why are you clapping?
I would like to correct the impression that there was no vision. There was a clear vision, an adopted vision, a strategic plan.
Strategic?
Yes, strategic plan.
How come that strategic plan was displaced?
Well, you have talked about the ruling class and the means of production.
Okay.
You have talked about the manipulation of the ruling class. And then that is also, coupled with naivety of new people joining political struggle. And when you advise them, because they are naive, they think it's doable, they think you are they want to try. Those of us who started with the vision of recruiting every dissatisfied person or disenchanted person into that movement.
Mass mobilization.
Mass mobilization. And crowdfunding. 400 naira monthly dues.
Will you pay?
No, we are not there. 400 naira. Not humongous money bags. Not humongous money, but because he who plays the piper dictates the tune. We are not saying people should even pay here.
All right. People
who bought into the vision have paid already. And the struggle continues. The fact that it failed in a time in history doesn't mean it will not succeed. You just need to keep trying. And that is what we are doing. Myself and Professor Patu told me engage in that discussion last night. Seriously.
Is he still a member of APC?
Well, he may be out tomorrow.
All right.
I was a member of CPC, as a matter of fact, governorship candidate in the state.
Yeah. With
General Buhari.
Yeah.
I opted out for the Thought Force.
Yeah.
It's about conviction. So the point I'm making here is that we had the ruling class which finance cartel. manipulating the process, buying votes, buying the people, and the people were gullible enough. The people you are fighting for were gullible enough to line, and they were asking you, where is it?
But the people are always gullible.
Okay.
Are they not?
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just adding that to the manipulation inherent in the politics of the ruling class. The decadent ruling class we have in Nigeria that represent nothing because they do not even have a political party. As we speak, I have spoken to the point that you don't even have a country by the kind of Decree 24 that you use as constitution. You cannot come and tell me that because it's only Nigeria.
No, Buhari would disagree with you.
Yes, he definitely because he's a military person.
But one thing is clear: there is a country, but we might not be satisfied with that country.
No, yeah, we are not satisfied because there is no devil. No.
So that we don't give the wrong impression.
No, we are not giving the wrong impression.
But there is a country.
For you, yeah, there is a country. Great. There is no nation.
Okay.
Because in any case, for you to have a nation, there must be consensus among the entities that make that nation. And you see why we are still here. Why we are still here is because we have not done the first thing.
Okay.
We need to do.
We just have to round off.
Yeah.
We cannot finish the discussion here. I agree with him. There is a country. There's no a nation yet. There is the Yoruba nation. There is the Igbo nation. There is the Hausa nation. There is the Ijaw nation. Until these nations fuse into a nation state, there will be a country. But Buhari disagrees with that idea. It's a matter of argument too. So before we go, let's look at the general topic again. Excelling in emerging economies. South Korea is flying. Singapore has emerged. Taiwan has emerged. Vietnam with Ho Chi Minh and Co. fought America. Vietnam is flying now. Brazil is on its way to development. Rwanda has sent a template for Africa's development. But Africa will not fly if Nigeria does not fly. Is that true?
Well, Rwanda is flying without Nigeria. So you can't say Africa will not fly unless Nigeria flies. We have to look at ourselves.
Okay.
And as far as Nigeria is concerned, May 29th, we're going on a journey that takes us to the next level. Watch this space.
Watch this space. So, round off now.
Well, I would like to say that such a forum is what we need. But, or should I say, however, at such a forum, we're looking at discipleship. We're looking at bringing people together, not only identifying the problem, but also talking about the way forward, training one another to take territories, and then giving each and every one of us a platform, a launching pad, where we can go and express that which we have learned together. Until we take action, positive action, nothing will happen. So tell to yourself, I am the problem of this nation, and I am the one that excellence in Nigeria is waiting for. God bless you.
Wow. Wow. Before we go, take note of these words. Dele Shobowale is a columnist. He's also an economist. He wrote in the Vanguard on Sunday, a revolution is underway in the northern states of Nigeria. The downtrodden, constituting 99.9% of the population, are sick and tired of begging. They are now demanding for their own share of the national cake to be delivered to them at gun or cutlass points. Dr. Kemi Jorge, thank you for this conversation. Dr. Edoziem, I appreciate you. And you don't want veteran Wale Okuniyi. And let me tell you one thing about him. He's a revolutionary. And I think most of us should be. being a revolutionary does not mean violence. It's having strong ideas for positive development. I think I am one too. Who knows, someday I might be your president. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.